Good morning. On this beautiful spring morning, the last couple of days that we've had before the next downward trajectory of the temperatures. So all of you are starting to blossom, all right, just as the natural world is outside. So today we continue from last week's Lilith, paying homage to the women as we celebrate Women's History Month. Our focus today will be on the League of Women Voters, their history, and what they are doing today to protect democracy for all of us. We are the Unitarian Universalist Church of Bowling Green, and whether you are here in person or online, we are so glad that you are joining us. My name is Natalie, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters, and I will be your service associate this morning. Please set your cell phones to silent so that we are fully present with one another. And a reminder, this service is being live streamed, and if this large room is uncomfortable for you in any way, we do have a live stream on a television in the Ballou room, which is by the entrance, okay? Oh. Excuse me, folks, I haven't done this for a while. Okay, so I should have looked at this sheet of paper first. Our opening music.
The days seem sometimes as if they'll never end. Sun digs its heels to taunt you, but after sunlit days, one thing stays the same, rises the moon. And days fade into a watercolor blur. Memories swim and taunt you, but look into the lake, shimmering like smoke, rises the moon. Oh, close your weary eyes. I promise you that soon the autumn comes to darken fading summer skies. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And days pull you down just like a sinking ship. Floating is getting harder, but tread the water, child, and know that meanwhile rises the moon. And days pull you up just like a daffodil, uprooted from the garden. They'll tell you what you owe, but not even a soul, rises the moon. You'll be visited by sleep. I promise you that soon the autumn comes to steal away each dream you keep. Breathe, breathe.
Thank you, Eliza. Okay. Okay, and thank you, Diane. Okay. Okay. First of all, we are a welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, however you identify, wherever you come from, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. Our speaker today will be Janine, and she'll be speaking on the League of Women Voters, United and Rise. This morning's chalice will be lit by Charlie. For the Unitarian Universalists, a flaming chalice is a symbol of the light of learning and the love of our community. As our congregation's chalice is lit, we invite you to light your own chalice at home. Thank you, Charlie. We will now sing hymn 362, Rise Up, O Flame. The words are on the screen. Rise up, O flame, by the glow. I have a lot of apologies to make this morning. Okay. Okay, this morning Jana Ray will be giving our opening reading. Jana is one of the two co-leaders of our local league, which is the League of Women Voters of Southern Kentucky.
The vote is the emblem of our equality, women of America, the guarantee of your liberty. That votes of yours has cost millions of dollars and the lives of thousands of women. Money to carry on this work has been given usually as a sacrifice, and thousands of women have gone without things they wanted and could have had in order that they might help get the vote for you. Women have suffered agony of soul, which you can never comprehend, that you and your daughters might inherit political freedom. That vote has been costly. Prize it.
Thank you, Jana Ray. Okay, please rise, embody your spirit, as we sing Guide My Feet, verses 1 through 3, which is in the hymnal, the gray hymnal, and it's number 348, and the words are on the screen. Okay. Each service, we include some unison reading of one of our values or principles. And today we are going to read the Unitarian principle number 5. The words are on the screen. Let's read together. We affirm and promote the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in Okay, now we're going to have our time for all ages, and Charlie and Richard are going to present the story by Dr. Seuss called One Vote, Two Votes. I vote, you vote. All about voting. And Charlie and Richard, and this is a story for all ages, actually. So anyone who would like to come up and sit here and listen to the story, you are welcome.
Right here. Come over here and sit down.
There you go.
You can look at us. What's your name? Millie. Okay, Millie.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, there we go. Testing. Uno, dos, tres. Okay. All right. Voting is something we do every day, Millie. It's a way we can choose that gives us our own say. We vote for class president and which snack to get. Where to go on a class trip and to pick as a class pet. What do you think? Nothing like a poison arrow frog when you class pet.
Voting gives each of us our very own voice to make one single choice. How do you vote? With a proud raised hand. Mark on paper, thumbs up, thumbs down. Understand? Can you choose not to vote? Yes, but that's a sure way to lose your own voice and not have a say. The item or person that most of us select will wind up the winner, the one we elect.
The biggest of all of America's voting events chooses our president and vice president. Are presidents important? Oh, yes, they are. Very.
Turn the mic back on.
They head up the government and the military. Vice presidents take over on the unhappy day when presidents get sick or else pass away.
Every 4 years, we elect them, you see, because we live in a democracy, a government for the people and run by them, too, which means that this country is governed by you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to Charlie and Richard and to our audience. We will now have a few moments for meditation. Yes, I'm sorry. Recessional. Now, we will have a few moments for meditation, reflection, or prayer. The singing bowl will lead us into silence. After the silence, you're invited to join in the song Spirit of Life, which is hymn number 123 in the gray hymnal, and the words will be on the screen. As we mentioned earlier, the Unitarian Universalists have a wide array of beliefs, and speakers at our Sunday services come from many traditions. With us today to share their own thoughts is Janine. Janine is a member of our congregation here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Bowling Green. Before she moved to Kentucky 12 years ago, she lived in Maryland, where she was a member of the UU Fellowship of Southern Maryland. In Maryland, she was a member of the League of Women Voters of St. Mary's County. That local league organized candidate forums, produced voter guides, advocated for environmental policies, and hosted monthly informational presentations. She became a member of the board of the League of Women Voters of Maryland, and she was in charge of the state's website. Upon moving to Kentucky, Janine joined the League of Women Voters of Kentucky as an at-large member. She has been a member of the local league here in southern Kentucky since it was founded. Janine, I welcome you.
Get there. So today we're here to talk about the League of Women Voters. You may notice several of us are wearing our League of Women Voter pins. There's a website with funny jokes about Unitarian Universalists, and I found this there, that the three sacraments of Unitarian Universalists: doubting, arguing, and voting. Sometimes all about the same issue, all the same day, with the same person. So it is perhaps not a surprise that soon after I moved to Maryland, I was talking with another lady in the Unitarian Universalist fellowship that I was a part of then, and she said, "You ought to join the League of Women Voters." I hadn't really heard of it at that time. This was about 30 years ago. So I looked them up. There was online then. It had just started. Things were still dial-up. They made that funny, remember that noise? All that noise, yeah. That was going on. But you could find things out. So I looked up League of Women Voters, and their tagline, empowering voters, defending democracy. Not just advocating democracy or encouraging it, defending it. I thought, well, that sounds okay. That sounds pretty good. And then I looked at one of the principles of Unitarian Universalism and the vision statement of the League of Women Voters, and found that they were fairly closely aligned. The League of Women Voters' vision is, we envision a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. And as we just read our principle, one of our principles today, we affirm and promote, as Unitarian Universalists, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. So I thought, well, those overlap. No wonder my friend suggested that maybe since I was a UU, I might also be interested in this League thing. Of course, the League is not the start of this movement towards democracy. Back in Maryland, they did some colonial history. In 1648, there was a lady named Margaret Brent. She owned some property. She went to the colonial assembly. She said, I would like a voice and a vote. Actually, she asked for 2 votes because she was the executor of somebody else's estate, and she owned land. And they said no. Surprise. And of course, in 1776, Abigail Adams, who was the wife of our future President John Adams, asked him to, quote, remember the ladies. We are determined to foment a rebellion if we are not paid attention to, and we will not hold ourselves bound by any laws in which we have no voice or representation. So she wrote to her husband in 1776. Now, whether John, in fact, did remember the ladies or not, it didn't show up in the laws. So we still had no voice and no vote. And so in 1848, the Women's Rights Convention was held in Seneca Falls in upstate New York. 1866, just after the Civil War, they formed the American Equal Rights Association. And a few years after that, the women's suffrage movement got organized. And they had decided that if we get the vote, then we can get the other rights that we would like. And so they decided to put most of their energy towards getting the vote. 50 years of that went by. And in 1920, finally, the 19th Amendment was made it into Congress. It was passed by Congress in June of 1919. Since it was an amendment to the Constitution, it then needed to be ratified by at least 36 states. Tennessee became the state to ratify it, the last state that needed to, on August 18th, 1920. It was an extremely close vote, one person. There's a statue of the suffragists down at the near the Parthenon, life-size statues of the women marching there, which is kind of fun. And so, in 1920, the 19th Amendment was passed, and women had the vote. Most women. Not all women. Women of color, especially those in the South and those on Indian reservations, were excluded from voting for quite some time. But the National Association for Getting the Vote, that suffrage movement, said, well, we've got the vote, now what? And so, in February 14th, 1920, they said, we've got our organization, we have all this mailing list, we're not gonna lose all that, we're gonna become the League of Women Voters. And the idea was that they were going to help women learn not who to vote for, but how to vote. How do you register? What should you look for? What kind of questions do we need to ask? How do we get involved? Because they hadn't had a chance to vote before, and so this was set as an educational organization. Well, after a little while, they realized that men needed some education too, and so the information they were gathering was useful to everybody, and the League of Women Voters started on their work, and they've been at it for over 100 years. So who is in the League of Women Voters? Yes, it does say the League of Women Voters, right? But it is open to everybody. And we saw 2 of our gentlemen members here today. Everybody can join. They decided, they had a big discussion about whether they should change their name, and decided in honor of all of the women who'd worked so hard to get the vote for all those years, they would keep women as part of their name, but Just as the word man used to include everybody, in this case the word woman includes everybody. Anybody can join. Yeah. All right, so I've got two screens here. So what does the League of Women do nowadays? Here we see two of our other members. They were down at the college talking to young people about getting registered to vote and getting involved in the democratic process. So 3 of the main things that the League does: education, advocacy, and organizing. The League is, however, nonpartisan. It never endorses a candidate. It never commits to a party. It looks at individual issues and advocates for those issues, much the way that religious organizations are allowed to do as a 501c3. We are allowed to take positions on moral issues. We can't, as a church, we can't endorse a candidate or put out yard signs or anything like that, but we can say, we think that this should be a law or shouldn't be a law. So we are allowed to do that, and that is what the League does. So some of their voter education, you see this especially during election seasons, which in Kentucky is 3 out of every 4 years, believe it or not. Most states it's only 2 out of every 4, but Kentucky, we go for 3. Registration drives, getting people registered to vote. They are often at the new citizens ceremonies, so that when someone becomes a citizen, then they can register to vote right away. They sometimes host candidate forums. They have voter guides. Now, way back when, those used to be hard copy, and they were left in libraries and senior centers. Nowadays, it's pretty much all online, and you can go to the website vote411.org. It should have names of candidates, information, links to their websites, all of it nicely organized, ballot initiatives. Depending how active your local leagues are, you may find stuff down to the county level, city level, or it may be at the state level. It depends who's there doing the work. But Vote 411 is a nationwide resource for everyone to use. It's free, and that was one of the ones that I was working on back when I was in Maryland, working on their state website. We were integrating our state website with this new thing, at the time new system that they had come out with. So I encourage you to take a look at that. We do have elections coming up here. You may have noticed some yard signs. Anybody noticed a couple yard signs here and there? Yeah, ads on the, okay. So if you're saying, who are these people? I've never heard of them. This could be a quick way to find out a little bit more about them. So that's part of the big education push, getting information out about the elections. But of course, government happens all the time, and so the League also does advocacy. Now, before they advocate for something, before they make a stand on a position, they do a study, and these can be quite in-depth. They can last several years. They can be just your county, they can be a citywide initiative, they can cross over state boundaries if you're close to another state. They do a lot of study, they produce that, then they share it with their members, they have discussions, information sessions, they talk to local officials. Then the League members decide if they want to take a position on this or not. They come to a consensus, and they may say, we think we should do this. They make a position. They formally state their position. Once a position has been taken, then they will start advocating for it and taking action to encourage local officials to put it into law. So one of the things that I really liked about League was a lot of the times I would go to or hear a political thing, and it felt like a lot of yelling back and forth, a lot of emotional, but not a lot of fact, not a lot of information. And the League gave me a lot of information, laid it out fairly neatly, and let me decide, do I think this is a good policy or not? Is this an important issue? What should be done? And they have the information there, and it was presented in a way that wasn't all just yelling about things, which seems to be what our politics has devolved into. And I care deeply about this country, about our communities. I think politics is how we get stuff done, but if all we're doing is yelling at each other, that doesn't get us very far. And the League is one quiet voice of sanity and reason and information that I have found very useful. So these are some of the positions that the League of Kentucky has taken a stand on, and these are some of the more recent ones. The democracy principle, that everybody gets to vote, and that includes positions on money and politics, redistricting, education, healthcare, voting rights. We have been active in our congregation about helping felons who have served their time get their voting rights restored. And the League was very important in that. Protection, voter ID law, getting better elections so that they're more fair, working on gun violence, environment. Back in Maryland, the League of Women Voters of Maryland took a position on marriage equality. And this was back before it was a thing, and they were one of the first ones to do that. So the League has been active, leagues all around the country. Each state has their own positions, and then the National League has positions, and then the county leagues can have positions, and so they all sort of work together towards the same goals. But this is some of what the League has been involved in and has made a difference in. They also have an observer corps, and these are people who go to government meetings and see what the lawmakers are doing, and then they'll often write reports on that, especially when the sessions are, the legislature is in session. Nowadays, that's online. You can find out what's going on. We're not close to Frankfurt, but you can look this up because the people who are close to Frankfurt are there listening, paying attention, and writing up reports on stuff. And they'll tell you when the different bills are coming along, what's happening with them, and what's going on. There are some counties that will go to their county meetings and report on those. Again, it depends how active your local league is. So if you're interested in learning more about what's happening up at the state level and the local newspapers aren't doing it for you, please take a look at this website. That's the League of Women Voters of Kentucky. So that's sort of what League has been doing over the past 100 years. What's happening now? Well, rather more than I'm comfortable with. Anybody else sort of avoiding the news these days? I didn't look at it this morning. I didn't want to deal with it. But an awful lot is happening, and a lot of what's happening is awful. And so people are getting very concerned, invested, and paying attention a lot more. It's sad that things have to get bad before we start getting more active. But here we are. Stuff is happening, and the League is there. The League is paying attention. This came out a couple days ago. There's a push from the federal government to get information about who's voting how, all your private information about your voting, and they're asking for that. And there's concern that that's an invasion of privacy, that it could be used in unpleasant ways, and so the League and a couple other groups are suing to keep that from happening so that your voter information stays private. You know, they need to know, are you registered and where you're registered, and they also track what party you're registered with, but they don't need to know a lot of the other information that is there. So the League is working to try to keep that private. I did look at the news yesterday, 2 days ago. This came out on March 12th. So very recently, the League has been looking into ICE detentions here in Kentucky and has put out the first of its, they're going to be a series of reports on what's happening. And as you can see, they've gone to the different counties and see which jails are holding people for ICE. The number has increased, almost has more than doubled in the last 6 months, and a large percentage of them are being held for non-criminal reasons, but they're stuck in jail because that's where we're putting people. Some of these jails are highly overcrowded, and they're also looking into civil rights violations by, they don't have a place to sleep, there's not enough food, there's not enough bathroom facilities, all that kind of thing that happens in a crowded jail situation. And so the League is following this. So again, it's too much for any of us to go and do on our own, and that's why we work together, that's why we organize, and that's why I go to the League and say, hey, tell me what's happening. And somebody in League is working on it. We're all working on our own little pieces. So again, let me repeat, the League doesn't care who you vote for, they care that you can vote. They're not trying to tell anybody who to vote for, but they're trying to make sure our elections are free and fair and accessible to everyone who has a right to vote. They protect democracy and empower voters. I was a League member in Maryland for years. I worked with some of these people, talked to them all the time. I don't know what party they were in. We never talked about that. That was not important. They don't know what party I was in. We kept it very focused on the issue and the League work. So also another thing that's happening now is Unite and Rise. And that's the title of our service today, Unite and Rise for Democracy. And they're getting organized. It's supposed to activate 8.5 million voices and voters through civic engagement, education, and collective power. And you can join in this. They have a place on the website you can sign up, and then you'll get information about when the activities are happening. You can read about their reports, when they're gathering, and when they're encouraging actions to be taken, calling your congresspeople and writing to your legislatures and that kind of thing. That's part of the organizing. And here are some of the places to go to get connected. We have an app, so everything has an app these days. So you can get notices about breaking news. If there's something coming up for a vote, they might send you a notice and saying, hey, call your local representative and get this information. We will be posting these links in our next weekly update, so you can find them there, and then you can just click on them when it comes to you through your phone or your computer. Unite and Rise, there's the website again, unite-and-rise. And again, the big website has all that information about the watchdog and the observer corps that I had posted a little earlier. Just go to lwvky.org, and from there you can navigate to any of these. So I encourage you to please go take a look, see what's happening, and get involved. League is one of the co-sponsors of the No Kings Marches, and there's one of those coming up in 2 weeks, March 28th. It's going to be here in Bowling Green, as well as other cities, of course, and there's the information for that, and we'll be posting that again in our weekly updates. So we finish with a quote from a famous, well, she should be more famous perhaps than she is, League of Women Voters members. Lotte Scharfmann was a refugee from the Nazis. She was Austrian, and she fled the Nazis and came to this country. She became a citizen in Massachusetts and became the president of the League of Women Voters of the state of Massachusetts. And I leave her quote for you all to consider: democracy is not a spectator sport. So get out there and play and work. And yeah, we all have, as they say, skin in the game, and that is unfortunately more accurate phrase than I want it to be at this time in our lives. But it's a scary world. The scary things are happening, and if we don't do anything, it's going to keep getting scarier. So that is information about the League of Women Voters. I invite you all to speak to any of us wearing the little buttons after the service, and I'll, of course, go online and look up more stuff. Thank you for your attention today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Janine. That was so informational and inspiring. Okay. Wait, oh no, I'm sorry. Okay. If you have questions about Unitarian Universalism or about joining this congregation, please speak to any member of our membership team. Their names have little like open books on their name tag. Is there anybody here that's on that? Raise your hand. You can speak with them after the service. Also, on second Sundays after the service, we have a question and answer session that you can attend to learn more about our denomination. Okay, we're going to have the offertory now. Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us. We are a community of memory and of hope, and we are called to be the keepers of that dream. Our dream includes a world where all people have worth and dignity. And so on this third Sunday, we are donating to the League of Women Voters of Kentucky. You have just heard about who we are and what we do. Donations to the League are used to study issues educate citizens, and encourage voting and participation in the democratic process. There are 8 Southern Kentucky League members in this congregation currently. If donating by check, please designate Third Sunday League of Women, or just LWVKY, in the memo line. The total collection plate will go to this worthy organization. Please give generously as willing and able. Thank you.
Will somebody wear me to the fair? Will a lady pin me in her hair? Will a child find me by a stream? Kiss my petals, weave me through a dream. For all of these simple things and much more, a flower was born. It blooms to spread love and joy, faith and hope to people forlorn inside every man. Lives the seed of a flower. If he looks within, he finds beauty and power. Ring all the bells, sing and tell the people everywhere that the flower has come. Light up the sky with your prayers of gladness and rejoice, for the darkness is gone. Throw off your fears, let your heart beat freely at the sign that a new time is born. Mail City killing our roses. Soon I'm no come forth and on every Maple City killing our roses. For all of these simple things and much more, a flower was born. It blooms to spread love and joy, faith and hope to people forlorn inside every man. Lives the seed of a flower. If he looks within, he finds beauty and power. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Thank you for that lovely music. We thank you for these gifts. May we use them wisely in the service of our congregation and our community. Okay, community news. Our congregation is an active one. Okay, so here are some ways that you can get involved, make friends, and make a difference. Okay, so today, okay, all right, I'll just read it. All right, Here at UUCBG at 12:15, the Green Sanctuary team is sponsoring a weed pull for our cornerstone garden. Everyone is welcome. We'll spend a few minutes pulling bed straw and dead nettles. Tonight, you're invited to bring food and get dressed up for the red carpet party as we watch the Academy Awards here in the sanctuary. That'll be at 5:30 today. Please mark your calendars for these upcoming events. At 6:30 on Wednesday, March 18th, there will be a watch party here at UUCBG for the webinar sponsored by UUA. The topic is Building Containers for Justice, and we'll learn how congregations can work with other organizations to build a just world. There will be a Getting to Know You UU event on Tuesday, March 24th from 6:30 to 8. If you have questions about UUism, please come. You can register by emailing membership at uucbg.org. Sign up on the green sheet, in the lobby, or just come. Light refreshments will be available. You can always find out more information about our community by reading the weekly updates. You can pick up a hard copy of the monthly newsletter from the lobby or read it on the bulletin board. The screen in the lobby shows upcoming events, and our website, our Facebook page, and Facebook groups are always available online. Please rise in body and spirit as we sing together. We are a gentle and angry people. It's hymn number 170 in the gray hymnal and also on the screen. I'm going to invite Diane to come up. She's going to share our final reading. And Diane is the second co-leader of our local league.
The power of pause. The work ahead demands much, and so vigilance is a must. But don't forget to pause, friends, for it is from grounded hearts and inner stillness that the vision to see clearly and the strength to repair the world arise.
Thank you, Diane. Feedback. We hope you found this service meaningful. I know I did. I learned a lot from Janine. She has quite a history in the League. I'm more of a newish member, so thank you. You can send comments to the Sunday service. Is it on the screen? Yeah, okay, good. So Sunday services at uucbg.org. For those of you who are here in person, there's a little blue box out in the lobby where you can actually write and leave suggestions or comments, and they're always appreciated. So, you know, people actually look at them, read them, and make changes. Or you can use the online form. There's a link to it on our YouTube page and the QR code that is posted, on, or I guess on the bulletin board, and printed in the welcome brochure. Next Sunday, Anna Tullow, I'm guessing, is that correct? Will be our speaker, and the topic will be sacred imagination. Sounds like an interesting topic. At this time, we bid farewell to those of you online who have joined us today. We invite you to join us again, either in person or online. Until then, be well and go in peace.